Okay, welcome to Loud Women Talking. This is a LinkedIn Live series that will at some point be a podcast series where I just get to indulge my desire to speak to all of the fabulous women that I know and open these conversations up to other women in the hope that we offer up more examples of women in business, women doing things their own way, showing up authentically, and hopefully inspire other women on their journey that maybe are a little bit earlier on. So that's the plan. So we're going to chat for about 30 minutes, if we can keep it to 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's ambitious.
Yeah, 30 to 40 minutes. And hopefully we've got some people dialing in live. And if you are there, hello. Just drop some questions in the chat, get involved, or at the end we do a bit of a Q&A, so people can ask you very specific questions about your journey, your service, your business, whatever we've talked about today.
Awesome.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Felice. I'm the founder of Loud Women, and I'm all about helping women to show up authentically and courageously and confidently in their business and take up the space they deserve. Okay.
Here.
Here, yes. And I'm joined today by Synne Linden, who is an absolute superstar and legend, and the founder of Linden. And I'm going to let you do a proper intro about you and your business.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about this and slightly daunted by the prospect of keeping this to 30 minutes. But we're going to do it and be organized.
Okay.
Right. Hello, I am Synne Linden. I am the founder of Linden and also of the She Sells membership. And I've been running my own business for coming up on 12 years now. I was called a veteran not long ago, and I don't really know how I feel about that, but I'm kind of owning it. I've run my business online from the get-go. And so I've obviously been part of seeing like that, the massive transition. And my thing is I want to help as many women as possible in the world gain access to the tools they need to succeed, whatever that looks like. I am an expert on sales, storytelling, strategy, and messaging development, and in general, all things female small businessing.
Amazing.
Good. That was so prepared. You heard, right? Like that was.
Yeah. Almost scripted. Amazing.
I know.
I still feel like I've not yet got to a point where I've really nailed like the intro of what I do, but we're working on it. So 12 years. I mean, to have a business that survived the pandemic is a real achievement these days. But tell me a little bit, if you can remember about that far. Tell me about how the business started. So what prompted you to go into business for yourself?
Right. So I started my business when I was finishing my bachelor's degree, which I was doing as an external student living in Kurdistan in northern Iraq. And in northern Iraq, in Kurdistan, I didn't really, like, online was the place to be because I didn't speak fluent Kurdish or Arabic, and also businesses there are very traditional. So I started as I would call it, a freelancer, definitely online. And to be honest, the blunt way of putting it is I've always had authority issues. I do not like people telling me what to do. I have problems with it. And so I think I deep down always knew, even though society was obviously telling me to, like, getting a job is the way to go in life. I was also studying a degree in creative writing and professional writing, and my kind of, since I would, like, my childhood dream was to become a novelist. And so I'd never kind of envisioned myself on like a cookie cutter trajectory career path. And so I think I knew deep down that doing things on my own is probably my best bet.
Yeah. And someone that spent 2 decades in corporate, willfully fighting authority, I would say you saved yourself a lot of
Yes.
heartache. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I think I did. And and then obviously, so it started with, the skills I had at my disposal, which were like communications and translation skills, because I was at the time fluent in, like my core languages were Norwegian and English. So I started as a translator, which kind of fairly quickly morphed into content writing, SEO writing, content writing. And it's interesting you should mention about the pandemic, because that's actually when I did a massive, I hate the word pivot, but that's what happened. I did a massive shift, changed things up in my business.
Yep.
I fired all of my pay per hour, pay per word clients, and I decided during the pandemic to move into high ticket consulting and strategic storytelling and messaging and writing work.
Wow.
And it went great. Went really great. Which we can talk more about, but yes, but yeah, that's eventually what I kind of came to realize, is that, I was working at a strategic level. I was working at a sort of much more in-depth level than the like, Synne, give us 400 words on this 800 times per week, which was just killing my brain and my creativity. And yeah, I wanted to work at the deeper level. Like that is where I thrive, I think. And certainly now with my clients now is working at the sort of foundational developmental level.
Yeah.
And working mostly with women, that means a very holistic approach, right?
Yeah.
Because we have the strategic, we have the business, and then we have our hormones and our emotions and our conditioning and all the other things that we need to be dealing with on a daily basis. So yes.
Yeah. And as someone that's known you and worked with you, and it's been a client of yours, those talents were totally wasted doing 400 word kind of tasks.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You have a real gift for being able to connect with people and get to the root of the problem and give not harsh feedback, but deliver the feedback that people need to hear in a way that feels very nurturing when it could hurt their feelings.
This sucks, but I love you. Yeah, no, I don't do that. But I am Scandinavian. I said yesterday to a client, because she was like, "Oh, I didn't mean that to come across as blunt," and I was like, "Well, blunt is my love language, so that's fine. I'm Scandinavian, like I can take it."
Yeah,
but yeah, that's very lovely that that's the experience you had, and I just think that we, especially as women, we're told, we're conditioned to put on so many layers on ourselves to fit into whatever the fuck we are meant to fit into. And we kind of chip away at, I don't want to say our truth, but we chip away at our authenticity. We chip away at the things that make us, incidentally amazing at what we do.
Yeah.
And you just get so much quicker through those layers when you're willing to be honest about them.
Yeah.
I think.
100%. Yeah, I see it. And I see it in my clients, what comes up for them, the fears that they hold and the beliefs that they hold about themselves. I see the same ones coming up over and over again. And the same ones that I had when I, finally stepped out of corporate. I don't think I realized until I was out and having to show up as my true self. I didn't actually realize that I had no idea who that was, because I had become this version over years and years of feedback and trying to fit in.
It's like a cult. It's like stepping out of a cult.
It is. Yeah. And I'm like, who am I now if these aren't the things that I'm judged by? but it's also been the most incredible journey of getting back in touch with who I am, and all of the different iterations that I've been through since I started my business and will continue to go through is, like you say, it's that sort of shedding of each of those layers, and then so that sort of slightly more authentic version of you comes out. And some of the things that I'm saying now and doing now would have horrified myself 3 years ago. I would have thought I'd be talking about the things that I talk about, or doing the things that I'm doing. And I also know that there's still more to come. There's still more layers.
It's like, whoa. No, but it's so cool, and it's just so unbelievably freeing and empowering.
Yeah. And it's amazing to be a part of watching somebody else go through that as well. Yes. I know that you feel the same way. It's when you work with a client and you see those layers start to peel away, and you see those fears start to drop away, and you see them start to do things that they never thought they'd be able to do, and the pride that they have in themselves, and the excitement that they then feel about what's possible for them. I feel very grateful to be a part of it, and very lucky that I'm able to help those women on that same journey. And
totally. It is incredibly, I feel immense gratitude, every single day, because I've been working in this format for so long and for so many years.
Yeah.
And for so many years, not showing up in what I really wanted to do, not showing up as who I really am, and as a result, like, what happens when you do that is you end up working with clients you don't like, you do work you don't really love doing, and the quicker you kind of get over that and you start, I mean, it's such a cliche, but it's so true, that the quicker you start being yourself, the more you start attracting things into your life, and also just seeing opportunities that you didn't see before because you wouldn't have even considered them before, because it was too scary, or it didn't feel comfortable, or it didn't, like, oh, but you can't do that. And when you kind of start, you essentially just stop giving a shit about what everyone expects of you and what everyone thinks of you, except for the people that you really truly are committed to because you want to serve and help them. Everything just lines up. It just aligns. And you get this incredible momentum, and I think it's both in your life and in your business.
Well, this is the thing, because this work doesn't just impact the business. You see that confidence spill out into the rest of their lives. And I think to be able to show up, because it has to, because you can't build somebody up just in one aspect of their life. You have to tackle the whole person, as you were saying. And really, do that kind of deep work and challenge the stereotypes, challenge the conditioning, and sometimes be the devil on their shoulder. Just constantly reminding them that this is where they're trying to get to, and that they, this stuff has to be dealt with if they want to get to that place. We can't just brush over it. And I think not dealing with that, we end up in a situation where we will, I'm sure you've experienced this, where we'll work with a client, we'll deliver them the strategy, and then it sits in a drawer gathering dust because we never dealt with the blockers and the reasons why they weren't committing to it in the first place.
Totally.
And I hate that. I don't do that. For me, it just feels like just because I get excited for them, when you work with them and you've developed this strategy together and they're really excited and you can see all these possibilities, I get really invested. So when I check back in with them in a couple of months or, a few weeks, and I find that they're not doing any of it, I'm like, no,
nothing's happened. And it's a waste. It's a waste. And but it is also, I realized this kind of a couple of years ago, and it's part of why I love sales so much, because that's on me though. That is my responsibility in the sales process, to really figure out, is this person going to do the work? Do they want to do the work with me? Are they going to do it on their own? But either way, that foundation needs to be there, because if not, I'm going to deliver you something is not going to help you. It's not going to serve you. It's just going to sit and collect dust. It's not going to, you end up with this almost like false momentum.
Yeah.
Where it's really exciting and fun when you're working together, but essentially it's like, it's kind of a fishing rod masking as a fish.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. You kind of wind up realizing after that, actually, it was just fish. I didn't actually properly give them the fishing rod or tell them that if you want this fishing rod, you're going to have to learn to do some fishing skills, because I can help you with that, but there's no point in me giving you this without that.
Yeah. And the thing is, your commitment to this has really been cemented recently with the launch of She Sells. So this is something that I found so inspiring, because obviously I've not met every single business owner in the entire world, but I have not. I know, it's amazing.
What?
But I have not seen, coaches, consultants that offer high ticket solutions launch anything like this. So I'm gonna let you talk about it and tell us what She Sells is all about.
So in my perfectly scripted elevator pitch, I mentioned that I'm on a mission to give every woman in the world who wants to essentially make her own money access to the tools she needs to succeed. And for me, that means every woman in the world. That's not the US and the UK and Europe, that's the world, right?
Yeah.
And I've lived in Eswatini in Southern Africa. I've lived in Iraq. I've lived in Thailand. I've lived in three on three continents where, being a woman means something very different to what it means in the West. And where things that we kind of consider here just obvious can actually make a huge difference. And so that's a mission for me. That is like what I believe I'm here to do. Not that I'm very spiritual or anything like that, but that is what fuels me. And so I thought, like, how amazing would it be if I could then create a membership for women that any woman in the world can get access to. And she gets access to sales skills and business development skills and positioning and messaging skills. And she gets it in a community of other women who also want to, when I say make their own money, I'm really talking about empowerment. I'm talking about being able to sustain yourself in your life and not needing anyone else to do that, because that is the number one reason in especially the developing world that there is massive gender inequality. It's because there are societal structures in place that do not allow for women to sustain themselves.
Yeah.
And so for me, it kind of became this thing of like, that's what I want to build. And I want to build that for all women everywhere. And then I also was fortunate enough to meet a woman who wanted to sponsor someone else. So she wanted to pay for someone else's membership. And that just gave it even more scope. Because then I realized that, wow, that's so incredible. So like, then we can also build this out through sponsorships, because the membership is $19 a month.
Which is crazy money. That's crazy money. When you told me, you messaged me and you told me that you were launching this and you said it's 90, and I was just like, take my money.
Yeah, that's like, literally what you said.
It was literally what I said. But I was like, I think my next question was, how on earth are you making any money from this? How on earth are you making any money from this? And you were like, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not.
And that's not what it's about. And I just, and that to me, I just thought, this woman is just stand out. This is just it's such a vibe. It's such a, I can't think of the word. It's like a kind of rebellious move almost as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Hell yeah.
I love this idea of just saying, screw what everyone keeps telling me I'm supposed to be doing
Screw.
in my business.
Yeah.
Screw all of that. Screw all of the expectations and the norms. And this is what I'm committed to. This is what I love. And I'm just going to do it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to make whatever makes sense for the people that I want to serve, because that's the thing. That's the thing in sales and business, like whatever, however perspective or aspect you're coming at it from, the sort of truest thing that I've found to success is to just actually fall in love with the people you want to help.
Yeah.
Like genuinely love them. You know, how do I make life amazing for them?
Yeah.
And
I think
yeah.
I think this idea of, because you've gone a step further than that as well, because I think you've taken this idea of building, like I say, that service that you know is needed, that you've built around ensuring it's accessible for the people that need it, as opposed to what most business owners do, which they'll create a program, set a price, and you can access it if you can afford it. Everyone else, tough shit. And you've looked at it and said, what you know, when thinking about the woman that I really want to reach, that really needs this, that doesn't have access to a huge amount of money, what's the highest that I can charge that she can afford? And then set that price. But you've taken it a step further now, haven't you, in terms of how you work with your other products as well. Again, this was again, I've not heard of it before. Not outside of like a charity.
So
tell us what you're doing with your other services as well.
Yeah. So what I found was that, you know, the members inside of She Sells were getting, you know, incredible results, but also I was finding that, you know, we were building a relationship and a community, and so many of the members wanted to work with me one-to-one on whether it was their LinkedIn sales playbook or their offer development or strategies. And they couldn't afford it, you know. I charge totally, my prices are 100% their premium prices, you know, because I've been doing this for so long and I'm really fucking good at it. Yeah. But again, it's like, it's not about me, it's about them. So what I did was I thought, okay, great. So how do I make sure that they can get access to it? And then I decided to implement 100% bespoke payment plans, which means that if a client wants to work with me, she gets to decide how much money she pays me each month, and however long she wants to break that down over. But we do the work in the same timeline as if she paid me in full.
I mean, yeah. I think that there'll be, I think what's really interesting about what you're doing, because I asked you some of these questions when you first told me about that, and I was like, well, what if people don't pay, and you know, how do you make sure? And you know, your response was, in my experience, people pay, but you have really you know, watertight contracts as well to back that up, you know, because you have to protect yourself as a business. But it's likely that there'll be people out there that might watch this and think that just seems crazy to do it that way.
Yeah, but again, it's like, why is that crazy? You know, that means I get to serve someone I truly believe in serving. They get access. Like, accessibility is such an important thing for me, not just because I've lived all over, but also because justice has been a huge thing for me since I was very little. I was that annoying kid in kindergarten who, if someone else tried to blame something on like a loud kid, I would go up to the teacher in front of the kid, total tattletale, right? And be like, no, they did it, you know, like,
yeah.
You know, because justice is important to me.
Yeah.
It's really important to me. It really pisses me off. Injustice really pisses me off. So,
yeah.
And so accessibility is kind of the way to, I don't know, express that or implement measures against that in your business, right? And so I thought, okay, well, great. You know, yes, you can then end up in a situation where you do a lot of work, and you don't get that much kind of money in right at that time. But then you're also like, you're set up with recurring revenue for however long.
Yeah, I mean, that is true, isn't it? Because then that money continues to trickle in,
Yeah.
long after you finish doing the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And you know what? I'd rather do the work and help someone and make that $100 that month than not make that money at all.
yeah. And I think when you and I were talking about it, I've really struggled in my business I've always felt that there was a huge gap in the support options that are available for women at the beginning of their journey.
Totally.
And the just the catch 22 of needing expert support to be able to grow, but needing to grow before you can access the support. And it never sat right with me. And I was following the formula, create a signature offer, focus on high ticket clients, focus on people that can afford it. That I was just giving away so much time for free, because if I met a woman,
because you wanted to serve other people
I
too.
wanted to serve those people that I could. And I'd been those people, I'd been those women, and I knew
100%.
how tough it was and how lonely it was and how isolating it is and how much it chips away at your self-esteem when you know that you're good at your job, but you just can't get clients in the door. It's just awful. It's an awful place to be in, and all the doors are shut to you because you can't afford to pay for the support that you need. All the COVID, money, or the government money had dried up, and there just wasn't anything. The freebie stuff is just it's not good enough. It's not, it doesn't give people what they need. And also, so much of it is very male centric in the way it delivers its teaching and its structures. And I was meeting women, just constant stream of women that were just saying, I don't want to do it that way. I don't want to be doing sales that way. I don't want to be doing marketing that way. It all feels like a drudge. I feel like quitting. I feel like going back and getting a job. And I was like, no, no.
Yeah, same as me. Please don't.
Please don't. So I was just giving away all of this time for free and setting up all these calls and then checking in with these women. And they didn't need really, really heavy, high strategic work. Often they just needed some help with the clarity and how to get those first few clients in the door. And sort of not to be everywhere all at once, and give them just a plan that they could follow that feels right for them. And you can do that in a couple of hours with most of these women. But I was giving away too much time for free. And then I'd just finished running a 4-week boot camp, which was kind of with the clients that I really wanted, people that were just getting started online or selling themselves online or brand new to business. And the group didn't want it to end, and I didn't want it to end. And I was like, there's a community here. There's something. But I was obsessed with trying to make it profitable. And then you came out with She Sells. And I was like, wait, what? We can do that. Just like create something that's like a passion project that doesn't have to make any money. And I was like, and then we had that conversation. You and I had that conversation where I was struggling. I was like, I'm not getting these high ticket clients in. And and you were like, well, how much are you talking about this offer? How much of your content is targeted at it? But I'm like, none of it. Because I'm doing it. I'm creating all this content.
Because I don't love it.
Because I don't love it. I don't love it. And there's so many people that are serving those women. Like they don't need me in the mix as well. Going, oh, pick me. But here is this, this massive group of women that's ever growing, that's starting their business and don't have a fucking clue where to start. And everyone's saying, if you can't afford it, if you can't pay for it, I can't help you. And so it was in that moment you said, well, why not go for it? And I'm like, well, why don't I go for it? And I was like, I've literally just been like watching you and what you've been doing with She Sells and going, okay, we can do this. And I love it. It's what's interesting though, and I don't know if I'm sure that you found this as well, is there's a set of challenges around launching a lower priced item that's full of value. People don't trust it. They're like, well, if it's that cheap, it must be.
They don't trust.
Yeah.
It must be shit.
Yeah. I'm not sure if
and also you kind of then end up with this weird, like, because how there's commitment, right? And there's different types of commitment. And usually the formula is to get people to commit on price. So you charge a very high price.
Yes.
And that keeps them committed because they've spent all this money.
Yeah.
And we recognize this ourselves. Like if we buy like really expensive sneakers, we're more likely to go out and do those runs than if we buy some crap ones, etc. So when you're not committing people on price, which is essentially what you're not doing when you do something low ticket, then firstly, like you say, you need to convince them of value. And then you need to actually create a different kind of commitment.
Yeah, because again, if they're not spending a huge amount of money, the commitment to engage isn't going to, and I've definitely seen that. And it's that I'm trying to still get to grips a little bit with trying to make it sticky.
Yes.
I have a core group of members that are in there, and they're in there every single day. They're constantly using the various support options that are in there. They're joining the weekly calls, they're joining the masterclasses. But I have a couple of others that are, I've got a client that came in and I gave her a free space. I don't think she's interacted with anything really or responded to messages, but I'm like, she'll come back when she's ready. She'll engage when she's ready. But it's this sense of, I don't get it. Why are you not charging more for that? But also I've had that from other business owners as well. When I tell people what it is, because again, we're so driven by making profit and making money, this idea that you would create something that's not about making
for any other reason than I know exactly.
Like, how are you going to make money? It's like, well, I make money off my other product. I still sell to women that can afford to pay like 2, 3, 4 grand for my services. But this space, this fills my, and that work does fill my heart with joy as well, because they're women, but just a few more steps on, and they've got a bit more money in their pocket. But working with these women and meeting women that I know are struggling and being able to say, do you want to pay £29 a month and come and join the community and get this support every day? And they're like, fuck yeah.
What?
Yeah. rather than just being like, I'll give you a free hour and then you're on your own, love. Like that never sat right with me. I always thought there was something more I could do. There's something more I could offer. And you taking that step first gave me permission to follow that path as well. So I'm very grateful for She Says and for you.
And I'm very grateful for you. And I think that, you know what? I think it's this thing of just getting comfortable doing shit your own way, because I've always been the odd one out. Even in groups of odd ones out, I'm always the odd one out. And sometimes it's because I'm the only, immigrant. Sometimes I'm the only person who says weird stuff. Sometimes whatever, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm always the odd one out. And of course, that's been like a root of a lot of like loneliness and self-confidence issues and things like that. But now that I'm an adult, what I've realized is, having been the odd one out basically my entire life, that's my fucking superpower.
Yep.
Because it means I am like, I just do not care. And not in a, I don't give a shit, but like, I genuinely don't care if no one's done it before. I genuinely don't care if people say it's a bad idea. I genuinely don't care, because I'm going to try it out. And like I said, I have authority issues. So if someone tells me I can't do something.
Oh yeah, it's like red flag to the ball. Don't tell me I can't do something.
Unless it's like really breathing underwater or growing wings. Don't fucking tell me I can't do it.
Yeah, anything that I might die from. Yeah, I'm probably not going to do that. But it's that I have the same. There's like an inner belligerent child that if you say you can't do that, I go, watch me.
And also. This thing of learning to let go of ego and using other people's success as proof that it's possible, that it is possible.
Yeah. And this is something that I think when you talk about sales, when you're teaching women about sales, this idea of letting go of ego, and I just hear your voice now saying that's the ego talking, whenever I'm whenever I'm thinking about how the conversation's going for me, am I getting closer to, suggesting a sales call, or, what am I saying on the call to try and convert them? And you're like, that's your ego. Stop it. Step back.
Yeah.
Lead with empathy. It's all about them. Make it all about them. How can you be more curious? How can you be more compassionate? And I think it allows, for me, it's made sales feel so much more comfortable. So, along with the other stuff, like actually having a strategy and having prospects and having a lead
that
list.
helps too.
I think when we sat down, you were like, what's your sales strategy? And I was like, I don't have one. And you're like, okay, well, that's probably where we'll start. But it's that authenticity and that feeling of, it's not about ego. It's about thinking and leading with them.
And that's why women are just going to explode past the sort of masculine centric sales approach, because we are primed for community and connection. Biologically, we're programmed to foster and nurture it. And that's why sales feel easier when you lead with empathy, because that is your natural state. Your natural state is to lead with empathy. And it is for most women. And so when we try to force ourselves into these, again, formats and boxes, which are typically have been developed over time by male-centric or masculine energy systems, frameworks, ideas, it just feels it feels almost physically uncomfortable. And it's because it's so out of alignment. It
does. I think when we talked about it, you're like, whereabouts in your body do you feel it? And I'm like, it's that. And even as I'm talking about it now, like, it's that feeling of like, wanting to shrink inside myself when I think about doing sales that way. And all the scripts and tips and the workflows and stuff in the world was never going to shift that, because fundamentally it was coming from a place of, I feel weird that I'm even messaging you on LinkedIn knowing that I'm hoping this conversation ends in a sale. It feels transactional. It felt manipulative, even though I knew I could help them, and all that other stuff is still true. I knew I could help them. I knew that my service would get them where they wanted to go. I knew all of that, and I knew that I wasn't, trying to offer them something shady or steal their money. But just entering to conversations knowing that my intention is to make money from you, even that was enough to make me just go, I don't want to do sales. But that being able to flip that script and go into every conversation not even thinking about what's going to happen at the end. There's not even thinking about it, and just starting conversations with women, being curious, thinking about where they're at, making connections. And and it's only when I get stressed about it, it's when that flips back and I'm starting to think about me again. And I go, well, no one's closing. And you're like, you go, what if you say to me, like, if you were to step back into your compassion and empathy, what would you go back to them with? I'm like, okay, now it feels easy. And it sounds so simple now once you understand it. I go, oh yeah, duh. Of course that works. And of course I'm getting more sales. So
it's crazy, right? Lo and behold.
I mean, who doesn't think it? That's crazy. I think,
and it's because traditional sales approaches are males. They're not male centric. Well, yes, but they're egocentric. They're about you. They're about you closing the sale, you getting the, and kind of forcing it on them. Like, they are going to buy this from me. And it's just like, that's literally the opposite of empathy, and the brilliant thing is, it's actually really easy to completely revolutionize your perspective on sales when you just nip that in the bud. Like, you take it away from ego and you replace that with empathy and curiosity. And then you're good, because then it's like, oh, but can I say that? Is it honest? Yes. Okay, then you can say it. It's like, it just becomes, you get like a free pass to building connections and having conversations. And like you say, wow, when you do it that way, you close more sales and the transactions are valuable, truly valuable. And that's what I'm always saying. Like, a sale is a transaction of value. It's not really about the money. The money is like the price tag hanging on the thing that you go to buy. But it's about the actual value of the thing that's important to you. But what happens in that traditional sales approach is you make it all about the price tag, which makes that song go off in my head.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to sing. But the analogy is perfect for like empathy, connection-based selling versus egocentric traditional sales approaches.
Yeah, and I don't see enough people talking about it. I've actually got I've got a post going out tomorrow, I think, or Friday, that I've written about the way, like, even the way sales posts are written, that and I don't think being in marketing, we know that marketing sometimes gets a bit of a bad name, and marketing people get a bit of a bad name because of this sort of manipulative, slightly shady tactics that are often used. And, especially by people who are experts in selling, they're very good at selling, and sort of trying to show this idea of hooking people in with an outcome that's probably not going to be achievable for them. And then selling them something. It's just the worst. And I keep meeting women that have invested thousands.
I know, and it's so exploitative, and it's so targeted at women, and it's targeted at them when they're vulnerable, when they're not making sales, when they're struggling, when they're desperate for anything that will work.
Yep. And then they do things like offer them discounts to pressure them into saying yes before they've really had time to think about it. It makes me so cross. And again, anytime I would write a sales post, I would feel like I was one of those people. And so this, flipping that script, it's completely changed how I approach my sales posts. And, it's this idea of, of course, I'm going to include some posts about my service. But
of course, you're running a business.
Yeah, of course, I'm going to share them, but I don't feel icky or gross about it anymore. And I actually think I post far more sales posts than I used to, even when I was being conscious about sell. When I wasn't making any money, and I was like, oh my god, I post out like every other day, and there's so many buys from me. Whereas now it's they just fall naturally into the cycle of content, because I know that there are people that are following me, that I'm connected with, that need my help. So I'm like, just going to keep reminding you of how you can work with me. But it doesn't. Yeah, it's just, I've just lost all the weird, icky vibes. And and we've actually got, because I think we've got a couple of people that, because I promote She Sells, because I'm not a salesperson, so I can help people. I'm audience building and connection building, and so I can get people to the point where they've connected with the right people and sent those kind of initial messages. I get people over the hump of starting conversations, but converting people, I'm still figuring that out. So I'm like, whenever it comes up in my community, I'm like, She Sells. If you're at that point where you're like, I'm having all these conversations, but I'm not converting any, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm gonna tag. This is where we go. And there's like a permanent post in the resources section that was like, if you're trying to sell, this is where you need to go. Is you need to go to She Sells. And I've got some of your members have been in doing the LinkedIn series with me over the summer.
Yes, so I know, which is amazing. And it's so funny because I find that so easy, right? I'm like, what, you have leads? All right, great. Well, you should be making a fuck ton of money then, because to me, that's the easy part, And when the marketing stuff, when the marketing stuff comes up, I'm like, yes, I understand positioning, messaging, storytelling. I'm really great at communications, but like marketing is definitely not my, so it's the same for me. Like, need to go to talk to Felice. She knows what's up. Go talk to her. She'll sort you out. And I love that we have these two, I'm going to call them hyper accessible solutions for women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, being able to have that kind of relationship with you and with She Sells means that, because it is something that I've been conscious of, that I can help my clients get leads, but I can't help them to then close them, which of course, for some of my clients, they're absolutely brilliant at closing. They're like, just get me the leads and I can sell. But for others, they can't do any of it. So it's that being able to sort of complete the circle and saying, now I've got you the leads, here's now how you can go and convert those, because they want money. There's no point having an inbox full of leads or a profile full of leads if they don't know what to do.
You're terrified to get on a call, or you don't know what to do with them.
Through their fingers, and all that work then is for nothing. So for me, it's just like completes the circle. It's great to have that partnership and be able to have clients move to and fro.
I know.
And between the two of them, they still cost it costs less than £100 a month to access both, or actually less than £50.
Less than 50,
to access both memberships. So I know. And the stuff that they get is, some of the members, don't want to say this in front of all my high paying clients, but some of the members get like sometimes more support. Because there's no limits. You know what I mean? If people want to post every day and ask questions every day, I will answer them every day. And so, the smart ones are rinsing it. They are just like, I'm in it. I'm paying. Whether they're paying £150 a month or the £29 a month. They are coming to all of the workshops, all of the masterclasses. They're dropping into the content clinics. They are, reading the resources and doing the work. And they're just saying, right, if this is available to me, I'm going to use as much of it as I can, which I love.
I know. Yeah, and I love that too. And it's like that's what it's there for.
Yeah.
So that's like when you were saying that thing about sales posts, it's actually reminding, again, flipping it from ego to empathy. It's not even reminding them about my service or how they can, it's like reminding them of how I can help them, how I can make their life better, how I can support them, and when I do a post where I'm like, please, please buy this week because it's going to be 400, pounds more expensive next week.
Yeah.
I'm not like, please buy from me. I'm like, save yourself fucking 400, because you're going to come back in 2 weeks and be upset that you didn't.
Yes.
And I care about you, so I want you to get it for a lower price.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen you like, come on, last chance. Don't wait.
Come on, people.
We'll save you some money. Get all this value. £400 less than everyone else is going to pay for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Love it. So look at the time. I knew we weren't going to be able to stick to 30 minutes. There's just too much to talk about. All right.
And even now I feel like we've barely scratched the surface, but let's
I know.
Everyone who's still listening, I applaud you for listening to us ramble.
I did put it in for an hour, so people kind of maybe it's not unexpected. I don't actually know if we've got anyone listening, but if we do and you want to ask a question, this is the time to ask it. But now obviously we have to give it a minute because there's a delay.
Now I'm gonna have a sip of water.
Okay, good idea.
Yum.
Yeah. So while we're doing that, and we're waiting for anyone to post any comments, let us know if people want to come find you. Obviously, if they can follow you on LinkedIn, but where can people get in touch with you? Where can they find out more information about Linden Tree and She Sells and all of the other amazing stuff that you're doing?
Right. So my LinkedIn profile. My website is lindentree.com. That's my last name and tree.com. And on Linden Tree is all the pages for the LinkedIn sales playbook. If you want to work with me one-on-one on your sales strategy on LinkedIn, the She Sells membership, keep an eye out for, if you're looking to join, there's going to be a promotion soon where it's 14 days, 2 weeks, free trial when you join the membership. And that's about it, really. And you can also, I would encourage you, if you're feeling like a bit stuck on sales and you don't know where to start, you don't really know what the issue is, I would take my free sales quiz, which you can also get on my profile.
100%. So as one of the founding members of She Sells,
Feliz, as the founding member.
The founding member. Was I the first one?
Mm-hmm.
First one to sign up. Yeah, if sales for you is an issue, and that includes things like, I mean, we did a whole session, I did the hot seat coaching where we talked through how to craft a sales landing page. So it isn't just about getting in the DMs or selling to people one-to-one. So yeah, if sales is just, you've got leads and you just need to close some more of them and you don't know what you're doing and it feels weird and it feels gross and it feels icky, then I 100% recommend She Sells. And for $19 a month, which I think works out about,
it's like £15 a month.
£15 a month. I mean, it's a no-brainer, an absolute no-brainer.
And it's a really great place to start because it's a great place to come in. We have weekly Ask Me Anything sessions, and that's a great one. You can literally just drop in every week on Monday, ask me whatever you want. I answer it live. As a member of She Sells, you also get 20% off payment plans and 30% off all pay in full on my services.
Yeah,
so
it's just incredible. Yes,
which you make back very quickly.
Yeah,
at that membership.
Yeah,
price.
Very quickly. And the other members are just brilliant. Like, they're so supportive and encouraging.
It's amazing, and it's I'm just amazed at seeing how far you've all this only opened like June 20th.
Yeah, it wasn't long.
It's been 2 months.
Yeah,
and it's been summer.
Yeah,
and people have been on holiday, and still every single member I'm seeing a pretty massive sales progression.
Yeah,
and
I think it's sometimes it is that just very practical coaching, supporting, and it's not like necessarily a big strategy that they need. It's the, where I was getting your support, it's just saying, what do I say next? This is the conversation I'm having, like, what do I say next? Is it too early to suggest a call? And it's that level sometimes that you need. You've got the process, but when you're in it and you're in the middle of conversations and you don't want to be a dickhead or say the wrong thing or be pushy, whatever it is, you kind of paralyze. You end up not saying anything or not doing anything. So having somebody that can just hold your hand through some of these steps, and seeing, and obviously every time you respond to another member or coach somebody else, we all get value. Thomasina's asked Tasman's asked how many women are in She Sells.
So I think we're at 35 now.
Yeah, it's grown quickly, isn't it, over the last few weeks?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, and it's going to be growing. I expect there's going to be a pretty big push in fall because obviously it's grown, like I said, over summer.
Yeah,
like I am this month closing my highest month of this year during summer, and that's the beauty of having a sales strategy, is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if impressions are down. It doesn't matter if engagement is down, because you're doing your stuff in the background and what you're doing. So yeah,
amazing. Yeah. So Tasman says, great rambling chat. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's it.
Thanks, Tasman.